Let's bring in Chaos Mirio and talk a little bit about this list. This is the list that I'm going to be playing. I know it's probably dumb to share your list ahead of an event, but it is what I enjoy doing because I think it's more cool to share the list before and then say, see, it really did do well, than it is to not share the list and then talk about the list afterwards. In reality, I think people are typically too closeted with their opinions and then thinking they have the secret sauce when everybody in this game, part of the fun of this game is how unique it feels and all the different ways you can take deck building. And so I don't think anybody is going to take this list and just verbatim copy it and run with it, but it might give some people some ideas. And I'm okay with that. I am okay with that. This is a list I've been testing quite a bit lately because with Younger being the elephant in the format, you have to play a character that can kill Younger early. It's really hard right now to be playing decks that need a long time to kill Younger. I've been testing out a few Hawks lists and just not really feeling it because it feels very difficult to kill Younger early, and it feels like eventually Younger gets you. Every single turn, he's throwing out all of these attacks, and eventually your defenses wear down and he gets you. So I've been wanting to play a character where I can get Younger and I can also play some decent defense to survive the turns you need, right? 32 health is a lot of health. You're probably not going to be dealing all of that in one turn. Probably going to need 2 or 3 turns to do that. So enter Mirio. I've had a lot of experience on this character. I think Mirio is one of the best characters in the game. And I think it's all because of this card, Phantom Threat. I think this is a very, very unfair attack. Nothing will ever be done about it, though, because it's very character specific. It's just Mirio, basically, that breaks this card, just fundamentally breaks this card. This is a 4 mid-5 that goes to your momentum, and it's going to get a speed every time you give it damage. So really, if you have ways to get this like 4 or 5 damage pumps, you're talking about an 8-speed, 9-speed move that goes to your momentum. By the way, they just printed Powerful 3 on this card. Mirio's strength is 100% due to Phantom Threat. I don't think Phantom Threat is an okay card. Whenever you want to win a big competitive event, you should play the cards that you don't think are okay. You should play the cards that are fundamentally broken. And then we got another broken card. We got Armor of the Wolf. This attack is +1. In your momentum, it can give damage, which means Phantom Threat can respond for speed if you have it in your momentum. And then it says after your rival passes on an enhance, this attack gets 1 damage. So if you have a lot of things in your momentum that do enhances and you're giving Lemillion to the big 3, you can use all 3 of these enhances no matter what. Even if your attack's a low attack, you can still call the enhance your high attack gets 1 damage. So this is just 3 enhances that you can drop. Eventually, your rival has to start passing. Armor of the Wolf gets really big. It has EX3 and Powerful 3, so if they reset the damage, you can dump it into the Powerful. If they reset the speed, you can dump your momentum into the speed, into the EX. Very, very versatile there. Phantom Threat fuels Armor of the Wolf because Phantom Threat goes to the momentum, and then you can use it for a nice EX3 or a Powerful 3. This is the fundamental interaction of the deck, is right here. 2 broken cards. Going to start with Phantom Threat. We're going to make it like 9 speed to where they're having to commit a lot of their defensive resources to block it. And then we're going to put that right into an Armor of the Wolf. The other cards I've got here is Cheerful Uppercut for defense, especially against like characters like Younger where they're trying not to play on progressive. You're going to clog their card pool a little bit and force that progressive. It's also just like a 5-low 8 if you have a momentum, right? And then I got 4 copies of Claw Stopper. This attack is a 4 mid-4, but it says if you have a momentum, draw a card. So if you lead with Phantom Threat, put Phantom Threat in your momentum, Claw Stopper will draw you a card. And it also says in your momentum, you can filter a card. One of the things about Chaos Mirio is that he's not drawing nearly as many cards as Good Mirio was. Good Mirio, you were just drawing a cajillion cards. In Chaos Mirio, we get Claw Stopper to draw, and we get Walk the Dog to draw. And that's really all I'm playing in my attack lineup that draws. Now, Phantom Threat, I'm getting it to be flash about 50% of the time. Because if I Steaming Sphere's Power, put in an Armor of the Wolf, that's 1 response. If I use a basic training, that's 2. If I use Lemillion, that's 3. Then Mirio gets you 4, and then you can Powerful it, and there you go, you have 5. If you had Unrivaled Combatant, you could flip its zone and get another damage with a million. If you had Momentum and you had Vast Hybrid, you could form and say all your things get a damage and then respond to that. If you had Nezure Chan out, you could give it a damage. There's all sorts of ways to give this thing tons of damage. You will get it to be flash about 50% of the time. When it's flash, you get to draw a card. So you're not getting nearly as much card draw as the good Mirio was back in the day. So Claw Stopper is very important to go to your Momentum so you can filter your hand and try to find those attacks. Then I've got 2 copies of Armor of the Phoenix. In Mirio, this is a 6-low-6. 6-low-6, if it goes to your Momentum, everything gets a speed. It's a 2-low block. It's not too bad. It's not doing anything over the top, so I've got a 2x. I have 1 Seafood Slugger, because if I get this in my Momentum, I can turn off Arrival Foundation, which can be a big, big deal. It should be noted that Seafood Slugger is not a slam, so Steaming Sphere's power cannot put Seafood Slugger in your Momentum. I do have Forced Quark activation, though, to put it into my Momentum. So there is a way to get that there other than just doing damage. And then my last card here, and you can call me crazy if you want, but I'm right, is Walk the Dog. It's not a punch or slam. Mirio cannot change the zone here. Mirio cannot give it 2 damage. 6-low-6, stun 1, draw a card. They have to respect the Phantom Threat and commit out to block the Phantom Threat. If they don't commit out to block the Phantom Threat, say they have some sort of reset, then they're definitely going to have to commit out to block your Armor of the Wolf. At that point, you can just play Walk the Dog. Also, Walk the Dog can actually help your Mirio deck because your rival knows that you can't change the zone of Walk the Dog, then they really expect you to always call low. Well, if you don't have a Walk the Dog in hand or you have a Walk the Dog but you don't need it, start calling high. As Mirio, it's very, very easy to tell when someone is holding all low blocks. It's very, very easy. Just watch what they're building and what they're playing and look at their discard pile and kind of get a sense for what their ratios are. You can tell what they're holding in their hand. If they have 2 cards in hand and they just played a high block attack and then they built 2 high block foundations, you should call high. So this can sometimes help like really confirm that in your rival's mind that you're always going low, and then you can surprise them by going high. Got 3 copies of it in here. I love this attack. I think people are taking the 8 difficulty nature of this way too seriously. It's always a 4 diff. Don't worry about it. Just play it. You will like it. Next up, we got 3 copies of Runaway. I actually started the deck in my testing by mainboarding Dark Tournament Looms because my idea here was we will Phantom Threat, put it into our Momentum, play something else, play Dark Tournament Looms, grab the Phantom Threat back into our hand. In reality, most of the time, I have so many uses for Momentum here, powerful 3, powerful 3, powerful 3, that I don't really want to pull my Momentum back to my hand. And then this is just drawing a card, but it's forcing me to take the Momentum back to my hand. I don't want to pick up like a face-up Armor of the Wolf if I shouldn't be playing it. Like, I don't know. It wasn't feeling great in testing, but you know what was feeling great in testing was Runaway. This card wins you the game against Younger. You lose X health before the damage step, you take the printed, and then you clog their card pool. So you play a few of these against Younger, now they're playing on progressive, and it just buys you an extra turn. This is the ultimate, I bought myself an extra turn card. And that's basically all we're playing in here. I have 0 speed hate. Absolutely 0 speed hate. Everything is just like, can I just buy another turn? Cape of No Return to remove one of their attacks. Broken Psyche, since we have all this momentum, we can take the damage down to 0. Incredible Display, because everybody's playing these incredibly powerful responsibilities. So Incredible Display, I think, is one of the top 5 meta-relevant cards coming into this webcam regional. It's going to cancel Echoes. It's going to cancel Younger's 2-check and that commits character, because I don't want Mirio to get committed. It's going to cancel Ryukyu's 2-check that commits the character. It's going to cancel Vast Strength. It's going to cancel Genkai's Guidance. It's going to cancel things like Runaway. There's so many things that this is canceling. You have to mainboard it. You have to mainboard it. I cannot have somebody using Vast Strength on my Phantom Threat. That is going to ruin my turn. So you got to have Incredible Display. Got another in the sideboard just in case. Other than that, the deck is all based around just getting momentum. So we got 2 copies of Forced Quark activation to grab something into our momentum. It's always going to be Armor of the Wolf, Claw Stopper, or Armor of the Phoenix. And then we got 4 copies of Steaming Sphere's power to do the same, to get momentum. Basically, we have 8 foundations that get us momentum. Phantom Threat puts itself into momentum. you get into game states where you're sitting on like 6 to 7 momentum. You're like Amajiki. Yeah, you're basically like Amajiki. You just get so many momentum so quickly. And then we have our draw foundations. We got Chivalrous Competitor and Fearsome Transformations. We're not drawing nearly as much as the good lists were. So we've got to be playing this. Chivalrous is also going to keep our stuff from getting flipped and destroyed. We really want Lemillion of the Big Three to not get interacted with. If we get this on our stage, do not let your rival mess with it. Same with Incredible Display. We need our Incredible Display to not get flipped or destroyed. So you got to play this to protect those. Unrivaled Combatant, we're going to get around those cooperation offers and the twisty surroundings, changing our zone back to like mid or something. It's also just going to get us an extra damage enhance on Lemillion of the Big Three and a speed. So if we have like Phantom Threat out, then Lemillion of the Big Three now gives Phantom Threat 2 damage enhances instead of just 1 with Unrivaled Combatant. Nejire-chan just to get more damage on Phantom Threat. Basic training, let's get more damage on Phantom Threat. It's also going to be our Deadlock. And then Master's Pride just readies itself and you get momentum. Needed in my testing, I needed something a little more to get the consistent builds since this is kind of an aggro type list. It's an aggro type list with answers to survive for a few times. Right, we're not just like some glass cannon over here. Between the Runaways, the Cape of No Return, the Broken Psyches, and our character phase, we typically can buy those extra turns that we need to be consistent enough to take down Youngers. But this is going to say like if we check a 3 on Phantom Threat, then when we put Phantom Threat into our momentum, we can ready it back up. And then Battle Arena, I love Battle Arena. This counts as 2 foundations. So, when you make a check to play and attack, this check is +2. So if you check a 3 on your Phantom Threat, commit your Battle Arena, and you're all good. Sideboard, I've got some Armor of the Apes because like against Hawks, those type of characters that string out all these like tiny moves, giving each of those moves -1 or -2 damage can really stack up. Some copies of Gently Sandwich if Walk the Dog doesn't feel good. Recovery Time if they're forcing me to discard my hand, because I think Recovery Time can be mainboarded with the straight face right now between the Mop Strikes, the Botan's coaching. Bakugo 4 will probably see some good representation. So with all these hand reps, Recovery Time makes sense. And 1 copy of Dangerous Combatant. So this is my list. Might make some changes before the webcam event. I've been doing a lot of testing with it. It's felt very nice. I think it gives me a pretty decent shot at making top cuts.